3, 2. And everyone knows who my guest is over there. I don't need to introduce him, but I will anyway. Rico from Buffalo Fanatics is in the house. Rico, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, Joe. Thanks for having me on the show, baby. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
I've been wanting to do this for a minute now, so I'm glad that we actually made the time for the show, man. Let's make it epic.
Absolutely, man. I'm excited. I know you're excited as well. We're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills defense. Listen, we're through 8 weeks. It's hard to believe we're through 8 weeks of this season already. So that means we're at the halfway point. And if anyone knows anything about the NFL, it's broken into quarters, right? First quarter, we did the same thing. We had 3 guys on, special guests on, and we're happy to have Rico on here as well. Talk about the halfway point. We're going to talk about the defense. And listen, everyone wants to know, Rico, and this is where we're going to start off.
Yep.
Who or what is to blame for the downfall of this Buffalo Bills defense?
Wow. Damn. Who or what to blame for this defense?
Mm-hmm.
It's not one person.
Sure.
Unfortunately. We'd love to blame one person, but it's the whole unit altogether. Nobody, and the best way I can explain it is nobody's communicating. And don't take it as me talking like I just figured this thing out. I was actually listening to Ray Lewis the other day, and he was breaking down film between, I can't remember who, but he was talking about like looking at film. He's look at the defense. He's like, do you see anybody talking right now? Do you see anybody talking? That's right. Nobody's talking, nobody's communicating, and nobody's on the same page. And the problem right now is I don't think our defense is on the same page. Defensive line are not talking. They're not communicating. Linebackers are not communicating with the DBs. DBs aren't communicating with the safeties. Nobody's talking. And when no one talks, everybody's on their individual pages. Things can go wrong. So if we're all talking, we're all on the same page. This is how we can get this defense back to, I'm not going to say top 10, the top 5 defense, but maybe we can squeeze back in the top 15, top 10 defense. But right now, we're looking pretty shaky right now. We're looking shaky.
And I love that answer, actually, and this kind of ties into my thinking. This is the 1 year where communication is as most vital as it's ever been. You talk about no preseason. You talk about these guys coming in from free agency. You talk about all these additions. You talk about guys having to be on, and this hasn't really affected the Bills on defense yet, but probably to be on the list of that pandemic thing we're not allowed to say on YouTube or else get demonetized. Like, it all comes down to that. And like, I didn't even think about it in the way of communication, but when you brought that up, I was like, yes, that's exactly what it is. It's communication. And this is the 1 year where communication is absolutely vital, not just from coach to player. Because I see some people blaming Leslie Frazier for the defense. I don't believe it's Leslie Frazier's fault. Leslie Frazier has proven himself to be time and time again one of the best defensive coordinators in this game. And if you can go back to his time with Minnesota, that's why I got a head coaching job in Detroit, and Detroit's defenses were always good. It was the fact that they had one guy in Ndamukong Suh didn't know how to follow the rules,
right?
And then even beyond that, and I was with the Bills, and 2 straight top 3 defenses. It's not on Frazier, but that communication from coach to player, it doesn't stop there. It has to go from player around.
Absolutely, 1,000%. I totally agree with that. And the thing is, we have too many veterans on this team, because I could understand if we had a whole bunch of young guys on this team. I get it. They don't know the game, right? The speed of the game and what to look for. But we have too many veterans on this team that we're not able to communicate like this. It doesn't make any sense. You got Mario Addison, you got Butler, you got Jerry Hughes, right? You even have Harrison Phillips, who can say starting to become a guy that's been in this league a while, right? Matt Milano, young guy, I get it, but you've been in the game. You got Jordan Poyer, you got Micah Hyde, like Josh Norman. Come on, man. We got too many veterans that have that are opinionated, at least from a Josh Norman standpoint. Micah Hyde, Jerry Hughes. We should be talking all the time, fellas. Looking back, pointing over here. You got this. Okay, switch it up. We're not doing that, and we're suffering because of it. And now, when we suffer on defense, guess who suffers even more? The offense. More specifically, Josh Allen, and that's the guy that's supposed to bring us out of this little mini tough scheduling that we have. We need him to step up. But if our defense is not doing the job, you're putting twice as more pressure on the quarterback. You gotta help out. You gotta help out, fellas.
Absolutely. And I know people are probably going to comment in the comment section, oh, we're missing Star. And we are. I'm not saying we're not, right? But I'm one of those people like Star made his choice. Like us missing Star isn't due to injury or isn't due to us releasing him or anything like that. Like Star made a choice and I respect that choice and that's fine, no problem. But let's not dwell on the things that we can't add to this team and focus on what we can add. It's as simple as communicating.
Do you feel that we're missing Star on this defense?
I feel like we are missing a defensive tackle. I was on with hashtag and Clayton from the Cold Front Report, and they were talking about a defensive tackle that would take up that double team, and we really don't have that. And Star never showed up in the stat sheet. But one thing that they will say, and I won't take credit for this, but the reason why Trey Evans got into the Pro Bowl with his 120 tackles or whatever was because Star was eating up that double team and letting him go into the middle. And I'm sure there's video that would film that would prove that to be true. And I'm sure if you look, there'd be film that proved that not to be true. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure there's plays where Star did take that double team, and then there's plays where you look at Star and you're like, no, he didn't.
And here's my thing, and I asked this question because a lot of people want to, because we've had our defensive woes, especially stopping the run. Mm-hmm. I remember when we had a stretch of football that we were playing, and we were getting gashed left, right, center, right? Philadelphia, we played Philadelphia. They killed us against the run. Then we went against and played the Redskins. Peterson killing us, right? We had a stretch of 3 or 4 games that we were not playing well. Guess what? Star was in the game. So you can't tell me that we're missing Star, and that's why we're not communicating. We're not disciplined enough, and we're not tackling, for crying out loud. If we start to do those things and do our damn job, maybe then we can start to look like the defense that we have been in the past. But right now, none of that is going. So I'm not taking the whole because Star is gone and he's eating up blocks bullshit. Apologize. I'm not having that.
No need. And I'm also like, you see Bills Mafia all the time, but like pointing their fingers at this guy, AJ Klein, this guy, and doing things. Like I'm all about, like, let's fix one problem and then the other problems will still show themselves.
I'm with you.
So
I agree.
We fix the communication first. We don't fix 10 problems at once. We fix the communication. And then, okay, if AJ Klein's still having issues, which by the way, the Bills coaching staff doesn't think he is, but if AJ Klein's still having issues, then we address that and say, okay.
Yes, I'm with you on that. Right? Did you hear about what they said about AJ Klein?
No.
So I think it was Leslie Frazier. Nothing crazy, but I think they asked Leslie Frazier, like, what are your, I can't remember who it was. Maybe it was Matt Perino, but I'm not sure. But they asked him about his thoughts on the play of our defense, and more specifically AJ Klein. And I didn't realize this, but they're asking AJ Klein to do a whole bunch of things, right? Playing outside linebacker. Then when Edmonds got hurt, guess who filled in for him at inside linebacker? Not Dotson. Right. It was AJ Klein. They put AJ Klein there to play middle linebacker. So he's just being moved left, right, center.
Sure.
It doesn't absolve him from being some trash. But when you're moved from out of position to a position that you're not normally able to play, or you're not normally playing, I can understand where you're going to have some F-ups. So shout out to Klein for that regard, to being able to be moved left, right, center. But he's still a liability. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to front.
He still is. And that's something that, again, once we figure out the communication issue, maybe we address that later. And speaking of addressing that, this is going to be a 2-part question. First of all, the Buffalo Bills did not address the linebacker situation or any situation when it came to the trade deadline. So I want to know how you feel about the Bills not doing anything at the trade deadline, but also how do you feel about us adding 2 new free agents? We brought in Daryl Worley at corner, and we brought in Darren Lee as well. So possibly there's something there. I also heard Matt Perino yesterday talk about Del'Shawn Phillips possibly come back from injury. So how do you feel about nothing happening at the trade deadline and those 2 or 3 additions for this defense?
I'm actually really disappointed that people thought that we were going to make a trade.
Yeah.
See, I duped you there, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm disappointed because what trade for what? What are we going to trade for? Like, you guys have played fantasy football before, right? Anytime you get offered a trade, it's always a ridiculous, stupid trade that your mom would never say yes to. Right. So here we are trying to make a trade with some people. They're asking for as much as possible, and it's not plausible. Number 2. We didn't have the money. We have just under $5 million to make a trade for, like, what? And here's the real question: where would you have made a trade that would have impacted this defense immediately?
Right.
Right. because you want, when you make a trade, especially this late into the season, this trade is supposed to impact your team immediately. That's my opinion, right? So what, you're gonna go and bring a defensive tackle, a big defensive tackle? Okay, so now you got to get rid of somebody. Who are you gonna get rid of? You know they're not getting rid of Trent Murphy. They had an opportunity to get rid of him way early in the offseason. They said, no, sir, we're gonna keep him. So they like their rotation. And on top of that, we have $50+ million invested in this defense. They're not bringing any more. Right. So they're saying, we have the money invested in this defense, so these guys are paid to do something, do the damn job. Now, going back into your question, your two-part question, what do I think about the additions of Worley and Darren Lee? I will be honest, I don't know too much about Worley. I know that he's got a bit of experience with McDermott, and he knows McDermott's system. But we've had guys that have known McDermott's system, and it hasn't done anything for us. So that doesn't really mean much to me. But having some depth at corner does make a difference. Now, the Darren Lee addition, that one's an interesting one, because former first rounder at Ohio State, I believe, if I'm correct, was known to be a speed guy and a cover guy, right? Didn't quite work out for him in the Jets, right? He was not a factor. So maybe sometimes, you know how second chances usually do well, and we have a plethora of guys with second chances, Jordan Poyer being one of them, and he's excelled in his second chance, as well as Jerry Hughes. We all know Jerry Hughes' story. Colts never wanted him. They didn't want anything to do with him. They thought that he was overweight. He comes to Buffalo and becomes a star. So hopefully Darren Lee finds himself a niche on this defense, finds himself an opportunity to make some plays, sideline to sideline, and maybe this is the spark that we need. I'm not saying he will be. Maybe it is, but we'll find out. We'll soon find out what's going on.
Yeah, there are plenty of examples, not just with the Bills, but in the NFL in general, of players who come from bad organizations. And let's be honest about it, and I'm not saying this as a Buffalo Bills fan, the Jets are just a bad organization right now, and they have been for probably the past decade, right? And so about player come from a bad organization and going somewhere that gives them that opportunity to step up. And he makes the most of it. And so maybe this is Darren Lee's opportunity. I'm with you. Again, Daryl Worley, again, depth at corner might be good, but it seems like when we try to find that second and third cornerback position, we're just rotating people at this point. It just seems like something that we need to just really get into the draft and draft us a really solid second corner to make something happen. But yeah, the Darren Lee signing, I'm very excited about seeing what he can do for this team. So next on the list here is, who is your midseason defensive MVP? So we know the defense has not been playing all that well, right? And so a lot of fans will be like, we don't deserve to have MVP. Well, let's say everyone here gets at least one trophy. So who right now would be your defensive MVP?
Damn, that's really tough, because nobody on this defense is stood out to me to say that's my defensive MVP. So I'm going to say this.
I'll give you mine first if you want.
Go ahead.
All right. So I think it's Mario Addison. I feel
Mario
like
Addison. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like every game that I'm doing, I'm saying his name at least one or two times. Either he's picking up a pass play or he's getting that sack. Now I do feel like, and this goes back to lack of communication, I feel like everyone out there is on their own island. Like, okay, let me do my job and then we'll take care of it, right? So it's hard to give someone an MVP award when it's everyone for themselves. But I do feel like Mario Addison's name is said. And for someone who just came in this year, I feel like he's making impact. And there's someone that has second, but yeah, I think Mario Addison would be my number one guy.
Okay, so you went Mario Addison. It's interesting that you went Mario Addison because he wasn't even on my radar for defensive MVP.
Yes.
Now, this player I put as defensive MVP hasn't even played every snap this season, and that's Matt Milano.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Matt Milano is my defensive MVP. Why? Because when he's in the game, he impacts his defense completely.
Right.
When he's out of the game, he impacts his defense completely. And you can tell the difference. When he's in the game, we're a different defense. We're a much more aggressive defense. We're a better run-stopping defense when Milano's in the game. But when he's not, and you leave the duties to Edmonds, it's just not enough. So to me, my midseason MVP, not because he's killing it statistically, it's just that he impacts his defense extremely well. If I was going to pick something, that would have been, that's who I was picking for my defensive MVP.
Sure. And the one thing about Milano, and it should be a sign of optimism for Bills fans, is he's still not at 100%. Like, he's making these plays and doing things for this defense. And according to what we hear from the coaching staff, he's still not 100%. So that should be exciting for the second half of the season.
Absolutely. Now, I wanted to add something, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Coach McDermott, and I don't want to take it off to the next one because I know we're talking about MVPs and so on and so forth. But Coach McDermott is such a good coach. When you bring in a guy like a Darren Lee, and he's good at finding gems that may have not panned out for their previous team, or maybe on their way out from their previous team, and he brings them on, and he can tap as much out of them as possible. But I have a small beef with McDermott. And my small beef with McDermott is this. I love that you want guys that are versatile, that can go from left to right, that can move here, that's interchangeable. But at what point do you stop doing that mess and let someone play originally where they're supposed to be so they can excel where they're supposed to be?
Sure.
I.e., Cody Ford. I'll give you an example. Cody Ford. We drafted the man for right tackle. You got him playing left guard, right? So what is he? You've made him now interchangeable, that he can go from right tackle to right guard to left guard. So where is his home? Where is he going to excel? Left guard? So you draft him as a right tackle. Now you have playing him left guard. What if he doesn't excel at left guard? Now you have him playing games and games under left guard position, and he never finds a home. And now he's just going to be a run-of-the-mill O-line, like a Ryan Bates. Not saying that they're both on the same page, but you get what I'm saying. So him moving players around and having the defensive rotation of having AJ Epinesa playing defensive tackle, then to the end, and Jefferson playing a one tech when he should be really a three tech, and I can go on and on and on. Let these guys play where they excel well. So, and if you didn't get the personnel that we need, shame on you. But at the end of the day, let them play where they play well so they can excel. Having a freaking Ed Oliver playing the freaking nose and playing the one tech, that's not where he's supposed to be. That's why he's getting bullied all day long. So I have a beef with that. Let these guys play where they're supposed to originally be. I hate to go on a tangent here. I had to get that off my chest because it's annoying watching this defense go from a defense that was top 3, top 5 to now, like, where the hell are we? I don't even know. We're middle of the pack.
And there's definitely and this goes, and I will say this about pretty much anything when someone tells me, oh, the coach needs to do it. Like, there's definitely a fine line there, right? Because you do want players that are versatile, right? Like, I play fantasy baseball, and one of my favorite players is one of those guys who play shortstop, first base, left field. Like, I'm like, I can just plug him in anywhere and he's gonna play. So there's definitely something to be said for having those versatile players. But man, how many times this offseason did I do a free agent video where I was like, do you know what this guy has? Versatility. That's why he was signed by the Buffalo Bills, and it's just way too much. I don't.
This is what I'm saying.
Your point. Yeah.
This is what, and you're right. Versatility is great. Yeah. But now you just got a whole bunch of guys playing all over the place, and like when you really need that true positional guy, like a one tech big boy that can hold the lineup, we don't got it. Right? A freaking linebacker that could, a stud middle linebacker. Do we have it?
Yeah.
Think we have it in Edmonds?
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean,
what I'm saying, man.
Yeah, no, I get it, and but to counteract that point, I feel like, and this is going back to the offense a little bit. I feel like we got, that's how we got John Feliciano, was due to his versatility, and no one's gonna be upset about getting John Feliciano. He played great.
Never that.
His first game back. I mean, he played center, right? Like, he was our center for
it.
That game. So it's like, wow.
Yeah, no, and the thing is, that's the thing. That's why I want to say, like, there's some moments where you're like, man, I love that he's versatile. He can go left to right. Yeah. But then it's like, guys, just leave him where he's supposed to be. Right. So, but it is what it is. I get it though. But my guy is Milano. Milano is my midseason MVP. To go back to it.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Like, hey, that's what makes this so much fun, is we go down these little rabbit trails, and
no doubt
everyone following can keep up. So can this defense get back to where they were last season? Do you think it's possible still this season that they can go back to shades of what they were last year?
No. I don't think they're going to go back to where they were last year. But why? Because there's been a shift in departments, and the shift has been the offensive side of the ball. We're putting up way more points than we ever used to the last 2 or 3 years that McDermott's been head coach. So 2 to 3 years, excuse me. So the fact that now we're putting more points on the board, I mean, not the last 4 games, but more points on the board, it forces teams to throw the ball in the air and attain yardage, right? And catching up. So that's the gift and the curse of scoring a whole lot of points. You can't be a top 5, top 10 offense and have a top 10 defense. It's very difficult to have both in this league. That's why there's a lot of parity in this league. It's very difficult to have both top 10 and top 10 defense. But can we go back to being the same? No. Can we have semblance to it? Can we look like it? Close to. But we're not the same defense, man. We're just not the same. And this COVID era that we're in, too many injuries, too many inconsistencies, and people getting out here and there. So it's just hard to do. It's really hard to do. So I don't think we are. But I gotta find out if you feel that way as well.
Well, I see, and I always think about the Kansas City Chiefs. Not last year, who won the Super Bowl. 2 years ago, the Kansas City Chiefs defense going into playoffs, I believe they were ranked 17th. I'm pretty positive when I say they were ranked in the last 15, the last half of the league. So they went great, but they would make plays on defense. They made it to the AFC Championship game. D Ford cost them the whole thing because he decided to step off sides for one play. But they made plays when they needed to. I don't think this defense can go back to where it was last season, but I still believe that Leslie Frazier and Coach McDermott have this way of putting players in a position to succeed when they need to the most, a way to step up. Like I said about Mario Addison, I think that they've done a great job there. And so it's not necessarily about going back to where we were. It's about being able to get the most out of the guys we have. And they still have 8. Listen, I still firmly believe we're going to win this division. I think you believe that too. And
I'm a strong believer of that. Yep.
Absolutely. And so if that's the case, that means we have 8 more weeks, 9 if you include the bye week, to figure that out. And then when the playoffs come, listen, January football in Buffalo is a little bit different than October football in Buffalo.
For sure.
So we just need to find a defense or player or 2 players who can make a play when needed to the most. Listen, the leading interception guy on our team right now is 1. We have a couple guys tied at 1. We don't even get the turnovers now.
Jerry Hughes is one of them.
Jerry Hughes is one of them, right? Jerry Hughes has an interception. Trey White still doesn't have an interception at all. So all we need is for some of these guys to step up, create a big play, and then and like you said, this offense can take it from there. Okay, right now in our 2 losses, our offense, the other team's defense has made the play, and that kind of busted the game open. We need to do the opposite. When it comes to playoff time, when it comes to playoff football, it only takes a few defensive stops. Every offense that you're going to see in this league is going to be good. The Chiefs, the Titans, surprisingly, Oakland can put up points. You got the Steelers. Let's not forget about them. They can put up points, and they're going to, no matter how good your defense is. This Sunday, Seattle, they're going to put up points. But you need to make those crucial stops at those crucial times.
And we do. And here's the thing. And we have a brutal stretch. The next 4 games it's not a cakewalk to any stretch. So we've got Seattle coming up, and we've got the Cardinals right after. Yeah. And I think we have the Chargers after the bye, and then after the bye, and then the Niners, right, and then the Steelers. Right. Yeah. The next 5 games is not a pleasant. It's not a pleasant schedule. Now, boy.
The good news is the Niners team right now is not the same Niners team that they were at the beginning of the season, right?
No, they're not. You're absolutely right about
that. It's looking kind of tough.
They're not the same.
But we are still traveling west for that game. Yeah. So I argue that it's gonna be really tough, but because we don't in that stretch, we only play 2 Sunday 1 o'clock games. I mean, we're undefeated at Sunday 1 o'clock games so far this year. So we're gonna beat Seattle this week because it's a 1 o'clock game, and we're gonna
knock on wood.
Yeah, right. So it's just those other 3 games but it's gonna be a difficult schedule, but I'm looking forward to it. Because for all those naysayers, including you guys in Bills Mafia who say, oh, we can't beat a playoff team, we have plenty of opportunity to show, yes, we can. And the Titans last year, during the regular season, they only beat 1 playoff team, in my opinion. They beat the Texans in the last week of the season, but that was the backup Texans team. They beat the Chiefs week 8 or 9 or something like that. And then what happened to the Titans? Who's going to be upset if this Bills team winds up in the AFC Championship game?
Nobody. So speaking of AFC Championship, I was asked a couple of days ago from a Patriots fan, are we content by just making the playoffs?
No, we've done that.
What is it that what do we have to accomplish for you as a fan, me as a fan, for us to say, well done. Well done. You guys did a valiant effort. Good stuff.
Yep. Last year at the start of the season, my expectation was simply to go above 500. After that 6-10 year, I was like, go above 500. That's my expectation. Everything else after that is gravy. To me, the Bills last year completely went above and beyond expectations, in my opinion. This year, at the beginning of the year, my expectations, and I got hit hard for it by Bills Mafia saying, no, it's Super Bowl bust. Like, stop all that. My expectations for the Buffalo Bills this year,
stop all that.
Stop all that. Make it to the playoffs, win the division, and win a home playoff game. After that, everything else is gravy. So after you win wild card weekend, because those expectations are set for me, and I've told everyone I know how great Josh Allen's playing, but if he can't win a postseason game, I don't want to sign him to his extension yet. With how good he's playing this year, I would definitely sign that fifth-year option, right? That has to be a given. But if he does not win a playoff game, if Coach McDermott doesn't win a playoff game, you still have to question it going into next year, because depending what the Dolphins do, maybe what the Patriots do, I'm still not worried about the Jets. This should still be our division next year. We should still be division favorites going into next year too, with the talent that we have. I mean, obviously injuries, everything. There's so much that can change, so you don't want to think too far ahead.
We better not count our eggs too quickly, because that Dolphins team is nipping at the heels, man. Because we're sitting at 4-3, we're sitting at 6-2.
But Tua didn't even throw for 100 yards last week. The Rams beat the Rams last week.
The Rams imploded, man. I don't know what happened over there, but I'm curious to see how the Dolphins shape up next week against the New England Patriots. That is going to be interesting. They can beat up on each other for all we care. And if the Patriots can come out and lose to the Jets to demoralize them even more, that's even better.
Yeah.
Take it.
Absolutely. But so for me, my expectation is home playoff game, win one game. After that, everything else is gravy.
It's gravy. Okay, good to know. For me, I'm because let's be real, we should have won that game last year against the Houston Texans.
Right.
Let's be real, right? So that would have been our going to the second round.
Right.
So we beat ourselves.
Right.
And we didn't finish them off the way we were supposed to finish them off. There was no way that we should have lost that game, but we did. So to me, it's not the first round is not even a question. You should be able to mop whoever's in the first round. Second round, beat them. That's where you should have been the year before. My thing is, I need them making it to the AFC Championship.
Wow.
AFC Championship. You need to get up there. If you want to prove yourself that you're serious and people should take you serious, like the Tennessee Titans last year, nobody was taking them seriously until they beat Baltimore.
Yeah, right.
Then until they beat the freaking Patriots. Right? So now they're like, wait a second, they beat the Patriots, they beat the Baltimore. This team's for real. We can be the Titans from last year.
Sure.
I hate to even say it, but that's the facts. We can be the Titans from last year. That's real talk.
Yeah, no, and this is one thing that I've always wanted to say since we lost to the Titans and everyone started jumping off a bridge. This is one thing I wanted to say. There have been 54 Super Bowl champions, and all 54 of them took a different path to get there. So let's not act like, oh, we've lost 2 games. Listen, this is the first time we're 6-2, 4-0 against our division since when? Right? Like 2011.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
It's been a while.
Let's enjoy this a little bit, guys. Let's not, okay, does this team have room to improve? Absolutely. But so does every other team in the NFL.
Yep.
So
facts.
We're 6-2. We're leading our division by a game and a half. And I agree. We cannot sleep on the Dolphins, but at the same time, our schedule and their schedule is the same. They have a tough road ahead too. So let's not just, the Browns are not going to be an easy game for them. They have the Arizona Cardinals still on their schedule this week. That's not going to be an easy game for them. We just need to win the division. Now, my fear is with the 2 losses that we have, we're setting up to be the 4 seed. Because the Steelers, they're still undefeated. We play them, but even if we beat them, we're not catching them, right?
No, we're not.
We talk about
unless they implode over there, somebody's bearing a major injury or something. But I'm with you.
Right. And even if it's barring major injury, are we going to catch Baltimore? Because we don't play them, so we have to at least tie their record. And then you figure we lost to the Titans. Now, the Titans do have a tough schedule coming up, so we could surpass them if we just beat them record-wise. And then we have the Chiefs, who we're not going to catch either. And even if we do, they own tie break. So we're setting ourselves up to be the 4 seed, which means, in my estimation, if everything goes the way it's going to go, we're playing either the Ravens or the Steelers as the 5 seed in the first round of playoffs.
Either way, our schedule's going to be tough, man.
Either way, our schedule's going to be tough. And again, my expectations, even looking at that, remain the same. So if you're telling me we beat Baltimore wild card weekend in Buffalo, I don't fear our next opponent.
Nice.
I just don't,
I like
even
it.
though sure we're going to Pittsburgh, but they're the same team as the Ravens, except for they have more offensive power. Like, okay,
Solid defense. You're right.
yeah. So that's my opinion. So Rico, I appreciate you coming on the show so much. And guys, if you want more Buffalo Bills a part of your Sunday, listen, you don't have to go any further than our two channels. You look at Buffalo Fanatics, I believe from 9 a.m., right? Is it 9?
That's right. Set up
9
at
to
9:30.
12:30.
Right.
They do a pregame, and I think you're a part of that. I'm just not sure what time you get
Yeah.
on.
So what we do is we have like, I mean, we have quite a team
Yeah.
with the Buffalo Fanatics. So we have Casey and Nap. They do an hour special for fantasy talk and gambling talk. So if you're looking to get parlays and bets and stuff, you need to hit those guys up because my man Casey is he's doing his thing, and Nap, my man Nap is doing his thing as well. So both those gentlemen talk fantasy draft, but we started off with Steve. Steve usually starts it off and gets this thing, the ball rolling, passes it off to Nap. And then we have a slew of guests that come in left, right, center. We just brought a new addition in by the name of Jeff Landers. Fantastic individual, and he's polished. So we have a good group that goes into the morning, and then we go right into the game, and then you finish off the night with a little bit of Rico and with the Rico report. So
yep. So you watch the pregame. Their pregame stops at 12:30. Well, who starts their game coverage at 12:30? That's right. I start the game coverage at 12:30. So you get off of Buffalo Fanatics, you join me right here on Believers Talk, and then like Rico just said, as soon as the game's over, Rico goes live now, whether it's rated R Rico or a calmer, happier version. We're not sure, but he's
never sure.
there.
We're never
sure. We're never sure. And there's definitely been some streams where we've won games, and I've still seen Rico get a little ticked off. So
absolutely. I don't even know what kind of fan I am. I try to honestly portray that I'm a realist. Yeah. Meaning, even if we win, I'm gonna, express my feelings, right, good and bad. Yeah. So I think that's what relates to people, and I think that's why people relate to you, Joe, because you, good or bad, you're gonna say it like it is, but you have a very positive way of putting it out there. And I love the fact that your positivity exudes onto the screen, and people love it. Yeah. So if you guys are sleeping under a rock, get out from under that rock and check out my guy Joe doing the live game. I give you a lot of credit for that, man. For talking for 3 hours, watching a game, it's not the same. It's not easy. So shout out to my guy, Joe, man. He's doing a great job.
I appreciate that. So last question for you, Rico. Yes, 8 games in, what do you give this defensive grade? A through F. Man. How do you grade this defense?
This defensive grade, bro, it's like a C-. Okay. C-. I don't want to give them a D because they're not bad. Right, but they're like a C-. That's what I'm sticking to that. That's cool. C- defense. This defense is not playing well, and we need them to start pull your grades up, kids. Pull your grades up, pull your socks up, get in them books, and we need them grades to pull up from C- to get us into that freaking B plus.
No, we need that, man. Week. Do what you need to do.
Yeah, pull up your socks, goddammit. Pull up your socks.
Do what you need to do and get up to that B. No, I was with you. I was gonna give them a C. Because like you said, they're not terrible. There's obviously defenses in the league that are a lot worse than they are. Yep. But man, there's so much room to improve. And I do feel like Bills Mafia, myself, you, very spoiled with the defenses we've had over the past 2 seasons. And I think the whole lot of us would have said at the beginning of the season, if you would have said, hey, this defense is going to be middle of the pack this year, but like, you're full of yourselves.
Right.
But here we are. So yeah,
here we are.
C-. I like it. So again, guys, Rico, Buffalo Fanatics, if you haven't checked them out, I don't know what you're doing. Go ahead and check them out. They're live, or you guys have shows every single day of the week. So
every day of the week, man. Monday through Sunday. Yep. And we even have a podcast every day of the week, man. So we're keeping busy, man. We're trying to keep busy. We're trying to give content to each and everyone, because there's a lot of people that cannot catch shows live, that cannot watch Joe on Believers Talk on Sportscaster doing the game live. They can't. So at Buffalo Fanatics, we give you an opportunity to catch it on the audio on a podcast. So if you can't catch it video, you can catch it on the audio.
Do that.
That's what it is.
Do it all day. And listen, you can watch me and have the audio on at the same time. It's fine.
Damn right. I like it. I like it a lot.
Do it both. It's fine. But yeah, so check out Buffalo Fanatics. Make sure you subscribe. All their stuff's gonna be in the description below. So make sure you do that. Again, Rico, I appreciate you joining me. I hope you
Man, I appreciate you, Joe. Joe, keep grinding. You are the man. I give a lot of respect to people that can do it on their own. It's not easy. Y'all got to give my man a subscribe. Smash this like Subscribe to my guy, Joe. You're not going to be sorry, man. Peep him every Sunday. He loves what he does. You can tell. And Joe, keep doing your thing, man. Grind it up.
Thank you very much. And guys, we do it for you, the fans. We love you guys. So thank you very much. We look forward to talking to you all soon. Until we do, go Bills.
Peace. Go Bills.
That was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
Good, man. I'm really glad you did.